I love secular Zionists like Bill Maher, for example. He goes,
wow, you've gone back and forth with him, right?
Yeah. That guy does like, oh, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. But the Jews should be in Palestine. Why? Because it's mentioned in the Bible. Dude, you don't believe in God. This is the little Zionists are the worst. Yeah. It's like, oh, we don't believe in God, but religion is a myth. But like God gave us the land of Palestine. It's like, come on, choose a side. Come on. Yeah. You can't get all of the perks of being a non-believer and then like get all of the perks of being a believer.
Well, do it.
What the hell, man?
That's what they do.
There's a difference between criticizing Israel, Zionism, people who are using Judaism as a cover for their crimes, and between actually a true hate crimes against Jewish people. There's a lot of Jewish people who are against what the atrocities of Israel. And here's the thing. Like the Israeli propaganda created two of the most scary accusations: anti-Semitism, self-hating Jews. If you're a Jew and you're against Israel, you're a self-hating Jew. You're a traitor. You're a capo. You're a traitor for your own people. If you're a non-Jew, if you're a goyim, then you're anti-Semite. And this is a way in order to scare people from speaking. When you start to label people whenever they voice their opinion, you're racist, you're misogynist. This is like you're basically limiting the conversation. You're just like putting already limits. You're already gauging the conversation in order. So now the discussion doesn't evolve around how bad Israel is. It's like, oh, how bad are you as an anti-Semite? You know who's really controlling things? By how untouchable they are. And people can see that. You know, Norman Finkelstein was like a great Jewish scholar. Mm-hmm. He said this, like, I refuse this narrative that there's rising anti-Semitism. It's not happening. Like, let me ask you a question. Have you heard about a Jewish person losing their job, losing their chance in education, losing their opportunities because they are pro-Israel? No, it didn't happen.
Well, but I have to say, just a couple of weeks ago, several weeks ago now, there are two Jewish guys who were in London and they were stabbed.
It's interesting that you say that because actually if you read it, there was two Jewish guy and a Muslim guy. The three of them are stabbed, but you talk about the two Jewish guy, but not about the third Muslim that they were also stabbed. Okay. It's crazy, right? You see the filtering that just happened? You just see, but also, okay, if you want to talk about violence, there was like a friend of mine, his name is Jamal Awartani. He was with two of his colleagues in Brown universities, and they were wearing a keffiyeh, speaking Arabic, and they were shot.
Wow.
Did that happen to the Jew? There was like a 6-year-old in Chicago who stabbed 62 times by his landlord. Yeah. Well, did that happen to him?
Hold on. But that's like somebody says Black Lives Matter. That's like somebody saying Black Lives Matter, and they go, well, white lives matter, or this other lives matter. I'm asking, like, that's happening because to dismiss it means like...
I'm not dismissing it.
Okay, so...
I'm not dismissing it. What I'm saying...
Is there any correlation to the rise of anti-Semitism?
What I'm saying is... Okay, I'll ask you the question.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, there's a lot of hate crimes happening to Muslims and Arabs and people losing their jobs because they're pro-Palestinian thing. Nothing happening on the other side the same way, the same magnitude, and yet this is what we all talk about. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm happy to talk about anti-Semitism. Mm-hmm. But if you see the percentage of the attacks and people losing their jobs and being doxxed and being like losing opportunities in the marketplace because they have went onto a pro-Palestinian protest, it is not even be compared by the level of injustice happening on the other side. And yet, this other side is what we always talk about. And second of it is when you have a country like Israel always hiding behind Judaism, and in the name of Jewish people doing all of these atrocities, considering that is true Judaism, while Jewish people are screaming, saying like, it's not in my name. Jewish people for peace. There's a lot of Jewish comedians and artists. They're actually against that. But the Israel is keep dismissing them, calling them self-hating Jew. And then they're projecting this is the only side of Jewish people that you should see. Eventually you'll have a rise of anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And then they will use that for further victimization. So it's a cycle. All of your Congress is being bought or blackmailed or controlled by one foreign country. And it is right in your face. They brag about bribing 98% of Congress. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that our lawmakers, our representatives are actually paying more attention, being more loyal to a foreign country more than own constituents that voted them in. I mean, first of all, we're not going to pay that much money to control a genocidal country in the Middle East. Our weapons will be kept to defend us, not to defend them. We were not going to be hated around the world as much. Because a lot of people hate America around the world because it's support to Israel. By the way, it's not like they hate us because of our way of freedom. They don't hate it for our freedom. No, they hate it because you are enabling a bully who is doing horrible atrocities in this region, and and it reflects bad on the American of reputations of America. And it's like, again, and I told you today, I told you, how come America, the greatest country in the world, having huge problems with homelessness, healthcare, and education, and yet you're shipping all of your money, all of your wealth into a country who have universal healthcare, free housing, and free education? It doesn't make any sense. Why am I working for them?
No.
Like simple, like, why am I working? Why is this taxes is not being recirculated into my communities for infrastructure, for roads, for schools, and it's going to a foreign country? There is no explanation, and there's no justification for that. Israel needs to defend itself. Let it defend itself by itself. And let's see how long they can survive.
You were called Egypt's Jon Stewart, and I know you and Jon Stewart are friends. What kind of conversations you guys have?
I mean, he was very supportive in the beginning of his career, yeah, and he actually came to my show in Egypt. He was one of my guests.
That's great.
And I was on his guest a few times. I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from The Daily Show.
You guys have a great relationship, yeah?
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy. And it's actually, watching the late night show, Political Satire, is actually what shaped my view about politics in America. I understood now, that made me understand what is Republicans, what is Democrats, what are liberals, what are conservatives, what are the thing with the gun lobby, why everybody have like mass shooting, you know? And you grow up understanding American politics through that lens.
Yeah. Were you ever nervous about career suicide? Like, as I stand before you and just, being honest and like, some of the conversation is very, very hard because you realize there are a lot of, like, I'm a very curious person. And I know sometimes, I can ask questions. People are like, you can't ask that. You can't ask that. Especially like, I worked on network television and he knows this, like sometimes people are like, Akbar, you're thinking too much. I'm like, on network television, there were things I couldn't ask. And on the inside, I'm like a little kid, right? Like, I don't fake the funk. I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And so I want to ask something. But then now after going through network television, I'm going, oh shoot. Like if I ask that, so I'm asking you, did you ever fear career suicide?
No, I had that fear hanging on me when I was in Egypt because, it was like a new experiment and we don't know what to do. And then I came to America. Hey, freedom.
Yeah.
I am freedom. And then I come here, whoop, no. Yeah. There are limitations too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, where does it stop? Where can, it seems that you need to self-police your thoughts, your questions, your words. And I said like, wait a minute, this is not what I was sold.
154, we all connected, baby, you already know. I'm talking 154, we bringing Africa around the whole globe. Ain't no place like home.